Hey guys, I wanted to hop on today and talk a little bit about filmmaker Martin Scorsese backing an AI company. The couple days ago, he was in an ad for Black Forest Labs, and in the ad, he was utilizing the AI to help storyboard a potential movie scene or concept. And in the ad, he was dictating to someone who was prompting uh, a scene set in Europe, and they were adjusting the scene. And then at the end of the ad, Martin Scorsese was comparing the way that they were storyboarding to how Cecil B. DeMille used to do oil paintings for his storyboards, and how the AI was now a cinematic intelligence, as he said. So I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about this, my feelings as a filmmaker, and more importantly, like as a film fan. Um, to me, the ad was incredibly disappointing, I will say. It just was kind of sad to see this filmmaker who I've grown up admiring, who's so intelligent and so creative, um, now utilizing this AI tool and promoting it. And I assume that they paid him a lot of money to promote this. He's now an advisor for this AI company. Um, the sort of defense is that, this is just for storyboarding. They're only using the AI for storyboarding, and it's helping speed up the process and whatnot. In my opinion, I don't think that's where it's going to stop. Um, as someone, okay, so as a filmmaker, a few years ago, I was interested in AI and just kind of experimenting with it and seeing like the capabilities of it. I experimented with like the generative AI and a little bit with the video. Quickly, I kind of became I wasn't interested in the process, because for me, as a filmmaker and an artist, that process of like, having the idea and writing it, and then, ending up at the other end, filming stuff in real life, putting it together through all the complications, like every step of that process for me is like what's fun about filmmaking. The final product, it is what it is, and you try to get close to what your vision in your head is. But to me, like, that's part of the art form of cinema is, there's things outside of your control, and you try to like steer all these things together in order to get to this final vision, this final place, and then you let it out. So to me, using the AI tools just was like not fun after a certain point, and it was only giving me like a certain style, really, like, and I just didn't like the sort of input. Like, it was interesting for a little bit, but it just was not, I don't know, it just wasn't doing anything for me. So I've been trying to find ways to make things more like hands-on and whatnot, and I think honestly that's like the future of like what's going to be popular in cinema, is like handmade stuff, like authentic stuff. And I think people are going to be able to tell what's authentic and human made. And Martin Scorsese, even as a kid, I remember seeing that he was like drawing his own storyboards. And, like 11 years old, he had these ideas of like biblical epics. And he was in his home because he couldn't leave his apartment because he had like medical problems. He was drawing these storyboards. And you can look up the storyboards now, and they're really impressive. Like, they're really cool. And like, I just think back, as myself as a kid, like I love drawing, and I love trying to draw and get these ideas that I had in my head onto the paper. And even though, he was an 11-year-old kid, like these drawings just emote so much, and you can tell like the love and passion that is coming from these drawings. And I think up until recently, he still did drawings for his storyboards, and he drew his movies himself. And so I just don't think like this is the right direction to take this. Um, I think AI could be used in movie making for automating some processes that are a little bit more tedious. Like, let's talk about, script breakdowns, maybe some scheduling stuff, maybe more like logistic stuff. Obviously, you'll still need a human to kind of review these things, but utilizing AI to generate storyboards is just, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. And it's very disappointing to see a filmmaker of his stature sort of promote this, when now like so many filmmakers are just out of work, and there's no sort of entry point anymore into filmmaking, for many different aspects. Like, let's say you are an artist and you're trying to even get into storyboard or production design or art direction. There's just no entry point, and these people don't have jobs. And you know Martin Scorsese and his team, they could have hired somebody like to help in one aspect, and I'm sure people would be thrilled. But now this is taken over by a tech firm and an AI, and it just feels like he's pulling the ladder up from under him. Like he's had this whole career of making wonderful movies that I love. I just love his movies. They're so imaginative and creative and different from each other. And now that he's like an old man and he's running out of time to make his movies, I think he's like obsessed with like this control. Or I mean, I don't know, I don't want to speak too much, but the impression is that these older, especially men directors, they seem like they're obsessed with control, and they want this vision that's in their head out into the world, and any inconvenience that the external world is imposing on getting that vision out is just like, they just view it as an inconvenience. And to me, when I enjoy watching movies, I enjoy looking for realistic, authentic things, and having so much control is going to prevent this magic from happening, these happy accidents. Let's look at Martin Scorsese's film, The Passion of the, not The Passion of the Christ, The Last Temptation of the Christ. So at the end of the movie, Willem Dafoe is up on the cross, and he tells this story that they're filming the last shot, right? He's up on the cross. He says his last line, that, it is accomplished. He comes back and he says, it is accomplished. And they get the take, and the camera operator says, oh, we didn't get the take, the film burnt out. And they were like, what? And he said, the film burnt out, we didn't get it. And it was like, well, shit, like, fuck, like, we didn't get the take, that was the end of the movie. And then he talks about how they were looking at the dailies, and they're watching it, and he says the line, and then just right after that, the film starts to burn out, and it's a beautiful colors coming across the film, and something that they couldn't have planned. And then the credits just roll, and it's like a wonderful ending. And to me, that's like the beauty of happy accidents in film. And like, I mean, it's just perfect. It's like you couldn't have planned for that, and just feel like, if they started to be like, okay, well, we've planned this whole movie in AI, and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to try to like keep this movie like these storyboards, because I can see the storyboards, and this is nothing like these AI generated storyboards, in my opinion, when you have a storyboard, even if it's very detailed, like there's an abstraction between the drawings into, once you're on set and filming real people, and all these people in the crew are interpreting these lines and the expressions of these lines into their own experiences. And then that contributes to the final film. And it's that process that is enjoyable for creatives. And as a consumer, if you're generating the whole movie already, why would I want to watch a redundancy of a computer generated thing? Like, I wouldn't want to pay for that as a moviegoer. So yeah, just very upsetting to me, just very disappointing. It took me a while for it to hit the news. Like, I saw the ad in the morning and I kind of was like, oh, they put a gun to his head, or like, I don't know. I was trying to like think of any excuse, like, but there really is no excuse. I mean, even if they paid him a lot of money just to make his next movie, now he's sort of giving his stamp, right, to this technology, and giving it credit now. And he's one of the most acclaimed filmmakers. So this is going to open the floodgates for, Martin Scorsese uses AI to make his films, so I'm going to do that. And all these young filmmakers might be led to start using the AI, and they're not going to be able to start thinking for themselves or understanding the process themselves. And Martin Scorsese, he's a master, right? Like, he has spent all his life becoming a master at the film techniques and cinematic techniques. So devil's advocate here is like, he understands how to make a good film and how to utilize cinematic language, and he could probably make like a compelling movie using AI, right? Like, this is the argument, and this is going to save him time or whatever. I don't know. But you're going to have many, many other filmmakers that are going to use this as a crutch, and they have no mastery over the technique, and they're going to just start prompting things, and it's honestly going to be, at best, it's going to be boring and stupid and lame, and at worst, it's going to be dangerous, because there's just going to be giving this. Okay, so there is the story, right? You guys have seen Fantasia, right? With Mickey Mouse. In that, there's the Sorcerer's Apprentice story. And in that story, the sorcerer, who is skilled, and he has the hat, he can wield the magic hat, and he leaves. And the apprentice, he comes by and he puts on the magic hat. But as soon as he does, things start going wrong, right? All this water, he's trying to use the hat to sort of like make his job more convenient, and trying to go around like this slow process. But what ends up happening is it goes to chaos, The like brooms start wrecking everything. There's a bunch of water, blah, blah, blah. So that story can kind of be viewed as like an allegory for this AI, where the AI is the sorcerer's hat. And you're going to have all these apprentices kind of skirt around this process that takes all this time to master, and these techniques that to master, to cut right to this convenient way. But what's it going to give them? There's not going to be that learned process, and what makes someone feel a certain way when watching a film, or there's not that human aspect. So maybe, the argument can be made like, okay, well, he's only using it for storyboards. That's only one part of the process. But again, I don't think the buck's going to stop there. I think once you start doing that, it's going to just be like, oh, well, maybe we can use it for this shot because it'll blend in, or can use it for this CGI. Yeah, I don't know. And then this is not even to touch on the sort of environmental impacts. And honestly, they're saying that, it's going to save money. It's not going to save money, guys. Right now, the AI is cheap and affordable, but these companies are operating on a loss. The AI it costs a lot of money, and they're gonna start upping the prices to even use this technology. So, like, let's say, it costs like $5 a day or whatever. It costs you $5 a day to generate however many images, right? The actual cost to the company is going to be way more. So right now they're willing to take these laws to get people onto these AIs and these technologies. After a certain point, it's going to start getting like, they're going to start upping the subscription price, and they're going to start upping the price, and it's going to be really expensive to even use these AIs. And then everyone's going to be so dependent, like, I have to use the AI to make my film, and they're not going to be able to think for themselves. Yeah, I don't know. It made me really sad. At one point in the day, I'm going to be honest with you, it kind of like started to hit me later in the day, and I kind of wanted to cry. I'm not going to lie. Just to see like my hero, like one of my heroes, like this man who studied cinema, like he made like a whole documentary series about like American cinema, and he talks so well and so beautifully about silent cinema up until modern day, or maybe he started, I don't forget if it ended in the 60s or but such reverence for these filmmakers of the past. And these filmmakers would not have dreamed that that this AI would exist. They would not have dreamed that something like AI could exist, and I don't think they would have used it. I think they would have continued to use humans and artistic techniques by hand to create their films. And I'm not against technology. Like, I think, CGI, they all have its place, but it must be an extension of the human form. We can't just be having computers create for themselves like these things. Otherwise, like, why are we going to watch it? Why do I want to watch that? I don't want to watch that. To me, film, even if a bad film, I love watching bad movies. I love watching like complete shit movies because it's fun to see like the person like bad acting there walking into whatever, and it's just, I don't know, there's a novelty to it. Like, that happened in that point in time, and they captured it, and everyone came together. And that's what's also fun about making films for me, is like, it's really hard to make movies. It's not convenient, but I think the most beautiful films I've seen have had stories that, behind the scenes, you start to learn that, okay, that was insane to make, that cost them a lot of time and effort and money to make something that like is on screen for a few seconds. But I think, in my opinion, like, those things have like an aura that is perceptible to us on a different level than just the visual level. And I think they're slowly trying to chip away at these things, and their excuse is that it's going to be more convenient. And I think that's a lie, and I think that's misplaced. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below what you guys think. Do you think this is a good thing? I mean, am I just speaking into the void? I don't think so, because I've seen a lot of comments on the ad and other places that, people are very disappointed. And, I think best case, he can say like, oh, like, sorry, I guess. But like, I think there's no going back now for him. Um, yeah, Marty, I don't know what to say. It's like really disappointing. Uh, it's kind of soiled a lot of. I mean, I still love his old movies and still respect the man incredibly and think everything's creative that he's done so far. But from this point forward, I don't know. It's all kind of tainted a little bit. Um, anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for listening.